Hello everybody. Organization and management of educational programs for children with special needs. Today under this we are going to deal with the lesson Guidelines for Inclusive Education for Children with Special Educational Needs. The objective of this lesson is to understand the guidelines for inclusive education for children with special needs. The current challenges and issues which we are facing in inclusive education are lack of resources, teachers and therapists, lack of trained teachers on all disabilities, the gap between the students passing out of the elementary class and enrolling in the secondary schools, the child tracking system need to be developed in the country, low enrollment of children with special educational needs, especially the girls, lack of proper and systematic supervision and monitoring system at the state and district level, lack of specialists and therapists in the state, slow development of inclusive models schools in the state, barrier-free environments are not appropriate and as per the norms of the government, lack of sufficient well-equipped resource rooms. Planning for inclusive education. The goal of inclusive education, especially at the secondary level, is to reduce the gap in the enrollment, retention and completion rates and achievement levels of the children with respect to the gender and socially advantaged groups. The inclusion of children with special needs has been seen in terms of the physical access, social access and quality of these access. Physical access. Identification and mapping of children with special educational needs. As per the 2011 census data, 2.13% of the population are differently abled population. The data at present indicates that these children fall under this category, which points out towards the under-assessment of children with special educational needs. Therefore, intensive identification must be a prior importance. This must include training of the surveyors, enumerators and other government functionaries at different levels. Identification and mapping of the children with special needs is a part of the micro planning and the household surveys. A massive survey and the household survey should be undertaken with the help of the teachers, NGOs and other social welfare departments. The school readiness program and medical assessment camps should be conducted. It helps to increase the enrollment of these special children at the secondary level. Counseling and guidance sessions for the students and parents from class 8th may be organized so that the awareness programs will help the enrollment and retention of the children at the secondary level. Enrollment of girls. In order to cover and enroll more of the child with special needs, especially these girls, and retain them in the secondary classes, the government has undertaken major steps through massive social drives in local community involving the community leaders and the headmasters playing a leadership role by making the parent aware of the provisions in the scheme with regard to the availability of the gender sensitive intervention programs like the availability of the transport, helper support, secure environment, disabled friendly washrooms for the girls, residential facilities, transport and escort allowances and also stipends for the girl students. Aids and appliances. Basing on the assessment, all the children requiring assistive devices should be provided with aids and appliances in convergence with the state welfare departments, national institutions and voluntary organizations. Removal of architectural barriers. Efforts have been made to provide all kinds of disabled friendly facilities in school. An enabling environment must be designed by not only through ramps but accessible classrooms, laboratories, playgrounds and wash areas. Norms have been followed strictly and accurately. development of innovative designs for schools to provide an enabling environment for these children, it also a part of the program. A continuum of the core essential support services is required for the access and retention of the child with special educational needs. The services should be categorically specific and should be made available as per the needs of the child. This would include the availability and upgrading of the aids and assistive devices according to the individual child's need, the technological support in the form of augmentative and alternative communication tools, audio visual communication tools, and the computer access. The maximum support services should be provided in case of the disabled students. Curriculum adaptations. Curriculum adaptations should be made an important part of all the teacher training programs on inclusive education. For inclusive teaching, it is vital that the adaptation of the curriculum is carried out to meet the individual needs of the children with disabilities. Teacher training. Investments in teacher training is another key to the success of education of the children with disabilities. Both pre-service and in-service training is to be needed, given a special attention to building capacity of the teachers for addressing the needs of the children with disabilities. While the general education course of the teacher training have an optional paper on special education, Rehabilitation Council of India, it runs a special education course which focuses on specific disabilities. Resource support. Resource teachers from different disability and therapists may be deployed at the block or cluster level based on the number of children with special educational needs. It should be in the ratio of 1:5. They can be appointed as a key resource person who can work with a group of general teachers at the secondary level and also at the senior secondary classes. The general teachers are there to teach the specific subjects. Each resource teacher should be specialized in that particular disability, like the vision or hearing impairment or learning difficulties or intellectual disabilities. The set of resource teachers may be attached to the school with the resource room. The resource room established at the block level and multi-category training should be provided to all these resource teachers. These resource teachers can operate in a mode covering all the schools in the block or cluster level where the children with special needs are enrolled. Resource room. Resource room, it includes the academic lab, the low vision lab, soundproof rooms, the therapeutic room, the information communication technology or tool room, and the classrooms. The special teaching and learning material. The activities that can be carried out in these resource rooms are identifying the learning needs of children, functional assessment in terms of identifying the strengths and weaknesses and developing the teaching plan for the inclusive classroom. Using teaching techniques like the multimedia, peer teaching, collaborative teaching, team teaching, and the use of the other materials. Group or cooperative collaborative learning, the child to child learning, and activity based learning. Development of inclusive TLMs, that is teaching learning materials, which can be a tactile material, which can be a 3D, which is a multi-sensory approach material, and induction loop systems. These are all can be added in the resource room. The curriculum must be inclusive as envisioned in the National Curriculum Framework of 2005. It should be ensured that the same curriculum for the children with special needs is followed, but only with minor adaptations like small changes in the learning content and the learning friendly environment, appropriate learning approaches, adaptations in learning aids, flexibility in evaluation, etc. It would be important to provide textbooks and curriculum which are in accessible formats for children with special educational needs. Vocational education. The skill development and vocational education can be imparted to these children with special needs as per their special ability and need, and appropriate infrastructure and availability of the resource persons. Independent living is the ultimate goal of education for children with disabilities. Building synergy with special schools and national institutions. Special schools to become resource centers for inclusive education, and it should support and provide inclusive education. The nature of this resource support can cover aspects like tracking of the children with special needs, passing out of the elementary classes, including the dropouts, and development of the teacher training programs in inclusive schooling. The capacity building and empowerment of professional development, vocational training material and appropriate teaching learning materials, providing support services to children with special educational needs, assessment and identification of the educational assessment tools, conducting awareness programs, etc. In this backdrop, the concerned voluntary organizations and the school monitoring development associations may also be associated. Supervision and monitoring. Every state must develop a mechanism for supervision and monitoring the implementation of the activities till the grassroots level for the better coordination, as inspection by the central and state officials, reporting monthly by the district coordinators, and monitoring format that can be developed at the state level, and quarterly review meetings at the district, state and national level with field visits to the schools for holding the schools. SMDs, the school monitoring committees, has been associated to observe the norms and oversee the aspects of the inclusive education, especially for the children with special needs. Research and evaluation. Research in states may be done on the reasons for dropout at the secondary stage. Research on using the information communication technology, research and evaluation of the teaching learning methodology, research on why the poor enrollment of girls, or the steady practice of other states which are effectively implementing this scheme. Social access to children with special needs. Ensuring all social access is a great challenge. Orientation and sensitization of the school principals, the staff parental awareness programs, community mobilization and peer sensitization. Awareness and sensitization programs should be organized for the parents, community and peer group through awareness camps, and the inclusive state conventions, the inclusive rallies, posters on all disabilities with positive messages and celebration of the World Disability Day can be organized. Barrier-free access. It refers to the universal access for all children and adults within the school. This should not be limited only to the building or only to the physical infrastructure, but also it should extend itself to the curriculum and teaching learning process. This is particularly relevant in the context of the children with special needs because they have a variety of learning needs which need to be addressed. Let us look at some of the general guidelines for the inclusive education. The general guidelines will include the access to physical environment as well as access to the curriculum and teaching environment. The access to the physical environment, it mainly takes care of the children with orthopedic impairment as well as visual impairment. Access to the curriculum and teaching learning environment is particularly important for children with visual impairment, hearing impairment, intellectually challenged, and children with cerebral palsy and children with multiple disabilities. Access to physical environment. The path from the gate of the school building and the playground, it must be clear and leveled. All the entrances and doorways in the school building should be between a minimum of 4 to 5 feet wide. The sharp turns should be avoided in the walkways. The walkways must be clear of any protruding obstructions like the windows or low branches or flower pots or signposts. The end of the handrails should be bent downwards so that it can avoid any injury to these disabled children. The steps should be of equal and even heights. Bright colors, it should be used at every change of the slope, at the beginning and ending of the staircase for easy recognition. All the surfaces should be non-slippery and loose gravel or cobbles should be avoided. Safety of all children should be ensured by provision of hazard-free environment. The school or the classroom design should allow the teacher to be able to pay attention to the child, including effective position placement, keeping in mind the individual needs of the child with special educational needs. Access to curriculum or the teaching learning process. Adaptations and accommodations need to be made in procedures for assessment. Use of teaching strategies including signs and gestures and use of teaching learning material as per the needs of the child with special needs. Availability and accessibility of learning material within the classroom should be ensured. Ensure participation of the children with special needs in all curricular and co-curricular activities. Use of peer support effectively to ensure increased participation of the children with special needs in schools. The use of enabled technologies should be able to meet the needs of these special children. After having understood the curriculum access and the physical access, let us now move on to see the guidelines for children with moving difficulties and cerebral palsy. Ensure a wheelchair accessibilities to classrooms, office rooms and playgrounds. Prescribed gradient of the ramp should be 1:12 and it should be strictly adhered to, and all the ramps should be fitted with handrails. The aids and appliances like the calipers, wheelchairs, braces, special chairs, crutches, wedges, pencil grips, communication boards, etc. should be made available. Ensure adequate space allocation to meet the individual needs of the child using assistive devices. Ensure proper positioning and safety of the careful handling of the children with cerebral palsy with the help of a resource teacher or a parent. All the classes and the teaching facilities for these children should be provided only at the ground floor level. Now let us have a look at guidelines for children with intellectual difficulties. Ensure a visual, tactile, pictorial learning aids that should be available and accessible. The level of difficulty of both language and content need to be adapted as per the comprehension level of the child. Use of concrete objects as a teaching learning material that has to be emphasized. Giving enough time for the individual teaching learning opportunities. Based on the child's level of understanding, the content and evaluation should be adapted. Now let us have a look at the guidelines for children with hearing difficulties. Because language and communication is the major barrier for this group of children, the emphasis should be on providing a suitable hearing aid and their maintenance should be ensured. The resource teacher should provide auditory training to make optimum use of the residual hearing of the child. Seating of the child should be in such a way that she or he gets a clear view of the teacher's face so that it will be easily accessible to the child to lip read what being is said in the class, as well as have a look at the blackboard. Ensure increased use of the pictorial teaching learning materials. The level of difficulty of language needs to be adapted as per the comprehension level of the child. ensure the use of Indian sign languages with the help of resource teacher if required. The children with language acquisition problems should be exempted from the 3 language formulas. That is, the sign language can be used as an option. The sign language can be given as an option under the co-curricular activity to enhance the peer support. Now, let us have a look at the guidelines for children with visual difficulties. Ensure the availability of accessible teaching learning material like the large prints, audio e-text and the braille. Making science labs accessible for these visually handicapped children through tactile charts or diagrams. Ensure increased use of verbal instructions and directions while teaching. Ensure the availability and use of embossed and tactile teaching learning materials. Availability and training the using of the aids and appliances should be ensured. Availability and training in the screen reading aids and the scanning software should be done. Training in the daily living skills, orientation and mobility must be provided because these children have difficulties in seeing as per their needs. Now, let us have a look at the guidelines for children with multiple disabilities. Availability, training and using of the proper aids and appliances, access to communication and information in the required language through interpreters or electronic devices, information to be provided in appropriate format like the sign language, large print or tactile information or audio-visual information. Training in mobility and daily living skills should be provided with the help of a resource or support teacher. Effective use of the peer support to enhance communication and mobility skills. Using of appropriate technology softwares can be encouraged. The unique characteristics, the interests and attitudes of the children and diversity in learning styles, they demand differential teaching methods to be used in the classroom so that to facilitate learning. In order to meet the diversity, there is a need to develop a inclusive curriculum. The National Curriculum Framework also emphasizes the need for inclusive curriculum, keeping in view the diversity of learners. An inclusive curriculum aims at providing quality education which will enable all children to learn effectively and participate equally in a class. It also provides the children with dignity and confidence to learn. As per the National Curriculum Framework, the assessment of functional ability of the learners, it calls for a broad-based curriculum to accommodate the diversity of teaching approaches and also the use of teaching learning materials in a classroom. The guiding principle of the school curriculum, it should be based on the theme of the Right to Education Act to include and retain all children in the school. The curriculum being developed by the states must be inclusive as envisioned in the National Curriculum Framework. The state should also ensure that the same curriculum is followed for the children with and without special needs. The Right to Education has mandated the entry of the diverse learners in existing classroom. For example, learners with and without special needs, they have a right to inclusive learning environment. This calls for appropriate modifications in the conventional curriculum models. Within the context of the facility, the entry and retention of the learners with and without special needs, the flexible approaches become necessary. This refers to including creative strategies and to introduce inclusive learning environment along with systematic changes in teacher preparation. The diversity among the learners, it demands appropriate mechanisms which facilitate optimal learning through curriculum adaptation. That also includes the need-based teaching strategies, inclusive teaching learning materials and flexibility in evaluation methodology. Curricular adaptations, they aim at facilitating learning in every possible manner. which maximizes the learning or provides opportunities in such a way that all the children can learn, including the children with disabilities. When every child in the classroom, including the child with special needs, are provided with an opportunity to learn maximum according to their potential to make required adaptations in the regular curriculum, we can apply all the possible approaches. This is what we call as curriculum adaptation. Curriculum adaptation is not any separate method of teaching the children with special needs. It is a process of making necessary changes in learning content, such as modifying the content or substituting or replacing or omitting some part of it or compensating without changing the objective of the lesson or the learning process. After having understood the curriculum adaptations, let us now quickly look at some interdependent strategies to bring down the curriculum barriers or common barriers faced by these disabled children. The first strategy is creating appropriate legislative framework and set out ambitious national plans for inclusion. The second strategy is to provide the capacity, resources and leadership to implement ambitious national policies on inclusion. The third strategy is improve data on disability and education and build accountability for action. The fourth strategy is making the schools and classrooms accessible and relevant for all. The fifth strategy is to ensure that there are enough appropriately trained teachers for all. The sixth strategy and the last one is challenging the attitudes which reinforce and sustain the discrimination. So, today we have learned the guidelines for free barriers of education. We have understood what are the issues and challenges that are there for inclusive classrooms. We also understood what are the ways of supporting inclusive education and guidelines required for supporting the education of the children with special educational needs. We also understood the guidelines for providing accessibility for the children with different disabilities. We also understood some interdependent strategies. Hope you have understood the lesson. Thank you.